Morning, family, friends. Dr. Jimmy Henderson again, cognitive scientist. Dr. Jimmy's tips. Today I want to continue my talk on emotions. I want to talk about some very, very powerful emotions called regret and guilt and how to deal with them. I'm going to be using a rational method to deal with the feelings, the emotions of guilt, and I'm going to assume that your feelings are being caused by a lot of unpleasant thoughts. In other words, what we call self-talk. Now, self-talk is that little voice in your head that tells you who you are and what you're doing, especially what you're doing wrong. And we'll start with a negative situation. I believe that guilt and regret is usually caused by an unfortunate circumstances or a traumatic event that you've been involved in. And then you feel you could have dealt with it better, or it was your fault, and as a result then you get these experiences. But that's important to remember. You believe it was your fault, you believe you could have done it better. And this is where the words come in, where the actual self-talk comes in. As I say, self-talk is the little voice. The problem is that these strong emotions you experience during a traumatic or very unfortunate incident skews your rational thinking. Now, as a cognitive scientist, I need to explain rational thinking is probably one of the most important activities of the mind. Thinking clearly, thinking authentically, thinking accurately, thinking logically. That's all rational thinking, different skills. The problem is that during a traumatic event, your self-talk tends to be negative. You become no longer objective. The emotions are so powerful that they skew your rational, logical thinking. And it becomes, you're no longer rational, as I say. You can overlook important facts. You don't consider all the factors and the conditions involved in the situation, and you exaggerate your role or your guilt in the incident, and you start blaming yourself. When in fact, if you look at it objectively, you actually didn't do too badly. So as I said, I'm going to use the rational method. It's going to take a while, so I hope that I can keep your attention for another 5 minutes because it's really useful information. And there are ways of dealing with emotions such as guilt and regret. The first is a process. Let me give you an idea what the rational method is. The rational method is in my opinion, and in my book, my latest book, The Power of Authenticity, I explain this process. Step 1, identify the emotions. In other words, get in touch with your feelings. Know what you are feeling. Number 2 is unlock these emotions. In other words, start releasing them. Number 3 is challenge yourself. Start looking rationally at your thinking and your self-talk to decide if it's actually justified. And step 4 is to make a conscious decision to let them go. Yeah, so it's pretty easy to identify the feelings, especially we've mentioned them already: guilt and self-regret, self-blame, all that kind of thing where it's negative, it's not very pleasant at all, and you feel that you're responsible for things. The second thing is to actually deal with them, to unlock these emotions. In other words, sit with family, sit with friends, or sit with a counselor and unlock these emotions. Talk about them and hopefully release them in the form of crying, of sadness. As long as you've got someone to talk to, you can release these feelings and talk about them and feel them, let go. And then step 3 now, which is the main one we're going to focus on, is to challenge yourself. Have a look at your thinking, your self-talk, which lies behind these feelings or underlies them, and see if it's justified. And on step 4, as I say, make a conscious decision to let them go if you've decided that they're simply not worth hanging on to. Maybe it'll be a bit easier for you if I use a case study, which I do actually discuss in my book. A case study of a lady who was driving along at night, and then this guy, drunk man, staggered across the freeway, and she knocked him down and killed him. And now she's carrying this terrible guilt and self-regret and blaming herself for everything that happened, and it's affecting her, and it's really making her life unpleasant. She's been to court, she's been found not guilty for the factors which we're going to point out now, and but yet she still can't let go of this regret. So the rational skills one needs to employ when you want to deal with this negative thinking which is driving these emotions is, one, use the power of hindsight. In other words, this happened in the past, and you should have a better view now and a better understanding of what happened. At the time you were emotional, as I said, you didn't think logically, and now after it settled down a bit, you should be able to see things as they really are, get a new perspective on the situation. And that means looking at it from different points of view. In other words, your point of view, their point of view, or what was actually going on, the circumstances surrounding the event. Look for any possibilities, other possibilities, rather than blaming yourself. You know, the conditions at the time, the traffic at the time, whether it was nighttime, dark, and all this kind of thing. Were there conditions involved that you need to consider when you, in spite of the fact that you're judging yourself, and then apply a logical approach. In other words, think and look at it systematically, logically, one at a time, and ensure that you actually are not being unfair on yourself by judging yourself too harshly. In other words, use common sense. Would a normal person, how would a normal person react? How would any other person react under those circumstances? What would somebody else have done in those circumstances? You need to consider all the facts involved. So let's have a look at this case study I mentioned about this lady who knocked over this person in the freeway, and now she starts to review it logically. She's got a counselor who's helping her, or a friend, and she's working through the process. She's identified her emotions, and she's expressed them with her friends. She's upset about them. She's sobbed about it, but she's feeling a bit better now. She can think logically and very reasonably. So she uses the power of hindsight. First of all, it happened a long time ago, and you think back, there was very little she could have done to avoid the accident. She acknowledges that. She acknowledges it was night time, and she was on the freeway traveling at a normal speed. She also remembers that he was on the side of the freeway, and he staggered onto the freeway. He was drunk, and he staggered onto the freeway. She also remembers that she hit the brakes as hard as she could, but she couldn't stop because it was right in front of her. It happened 2-3 meters. He walked out in front of her. And then she remembers, she informs the counselor that she actually stopped and tried to help him. She stopped the car, pulled to the side of the road, tried to help him, and phoned the police and the ambulance on his behalf. Well, obviously the ambulance was on his behalf. So she really did go the mile, the whole mile. So if you look at applying logic to this, look at the factors involved. It was nighttime, dark. She hadn't been drinking. She was thinking quite clearly, and she was driving properly. Her car was roadworthy. There was nothing wrong. She hit the brakes, and the car stopped within a reasonable time. The victim was intoxicated. He was staggering across the road. In fact, the case actually went to court, and she was found not guilty. The fact is that the judge took into account these very circumstances, these very ones. In other words, she now has to, she comes to this logical conclusion that nothing she really did was unreasonable in view of the circumstances. And it was actually the shock of the incident that gave rise to these feelings of regret and guilt, which is normal. Getting this kind of a shock during such an event is normal under the circumstances. And she can now come to the conclusion that her guilt is not justified in view of her actions, which any other person would have done the same thing. So step 4 now, all she has to do now is make a conscious decision to let them go. She's challenged her negative thinking. She's come to the conclusion that it was not fair on herself, actually, create these thoughts, and now she's prepared to do something about it. She finds that all these months of guilt and regret has not helped her in any way. It's been simply too high. It's affected her life. It's made her life miserable. She thinks now, she realizes that she wasn't to blame for this thing. She has now a readiness to make a conscious decision to let go. The problem is your regrets will always be there. The memory will be there, and you would regret having done that. And if you have done something to hurt somebody deliberately, I'm talking away from this case now, that you have done something that you feel guilty about, ask for forgiveness. Ask for forgiveness from that person. And if they don't forgive you, it's not your issue. It's not your problem. You play the ball back to them. Say, I'm sorry. You must obviously show true regret. And be genuine about it. Be authentic. And say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Please forgive me. And if they choose to forgive you, wonderful. If they don't choose to forgive you, there's nothing more you can do. So I want to thank you for your time today and remind you once again about my book, The Power of Authenticity, which will help you with this process, contains this process. It also helps you to return to be authentic, clear, and whole again. And that is very, very important for you. So I wish you all the best until we talk again.